Why am I hosting?
Oh, I thought you were.
I got this. That's my bad. Hello, everybody out there. That was a joke. We're just keeping you on your toes. You know, you got to be ready. Are we live? Are we not? Who knows? We'll find out. But I will tell you one thing, and I am your host, David Cochran. This is my co-host, Caleb Culver, and we will be covering The Penguin, Episode 4, the spin-off series of the Batman movie, directed by Matt Reeves, starring Colin Farrell, who is absolutely eating up the role in this series. And so is the actress who portrays Sofia Falcone, Christine Milioti. She is nailing it as well. So we are going to be covering the most recent episode here. As always, before we get to the good stuff, we're going to grovel for those follows. Head on over to social media. We got Instagram, we got X, we got TikTok. You're going to head on over there. You're going to hit follow. You're going to like some posts. You're going to interact. It's going to be a great time. And then you're going to head on over to YouTube and you're going to click subscribe there because those numbers are starting to grow and you're going to help us get even higher. So thank you very much in the, ahead of time. Check out some of our recent episodes. Obviously, we've been covering The Penguin every episode. It's out there. Go check it out. Make sure you watch the show first. We have a recent Week in Geek dropping. And of course, the entire season 2 of The Rings of Power is out there covered as well. And we got some Batman comic reviews that feature Penguin, One Bad Day, and Pain and Prejudice, featuring Corono Comics, a returning guest. So be sure to head over there too if you have interest in the Penguin comics. And we're gonna keep on continuing to cover the Penguin, and we'll be covering Venom 3: The Last Dance, the coolest comic book name ever. Well, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Like 80% chance we're covering it. So that's coming out in about a week here. So stay tuned for that. We got to talk about Noel and talk about whether they nailed it or not on the big screen. So let's get into the episode. I am very prepared. So I have a recap here, but I don't think you guys really want to hear it. I mean, you know what happened, right? You watched it. No, it's pretty simple. So last episode ends with Oz and Sofia Falcone getting put it to gunpoint by the Maroni. I forgot the wife of Sal Maroni. I forgot what her name is. Sexist, sorry. And a couple of her goons. They're holding pistols, and our boy Vic comes driving in here and slams one of them into a car, helping Oz escape. Oz says, "Screw Sophia, leave her there," leaving us to all be like, "What the hell? You just had a really nice moment with her. That was surprising." Yeah, and I didn't even think of that. I didn't think time had passed. I was like, wow, you just bailed on her like that.
Yeah. Right.
We find out why. We find out why he was so okay with bailing on her. But before we continue that aspect of the story, we get a flashback. So we get a big backstory to Sophia here. We learn about her relationship with her father, Carmine Falcone, a bit. We learn how she gets sent to Arkham Asylum in a very, very messed up way. We see why her brother is so close to her and why she was so heartbroken that he died. And then we see her get out of there and dealing with Dr. Julian Rush, who we learn that she met during her time at Arkham. She wakes up from a nightmare, remembering those memories of Arkham, freaks out on him, and then begins to plan, I guess, her competition against Oz, because she now knows she cannot trust Oz. And we'll get into all the reasons why. We'll cover that scene right off the bat. But yeah, so we got a big Sofia Falcone episode here, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was solid. Again, you told me before the season started, hey, episode 4 is going to be all about Sofia Falcone. I would have been like, I'm not even excited for her character. I don't want an entire episode dedicated to her with, 4 scenes of Oz in it at most. But man, it was really good. So, Lub, just overall thoughts on the episode. How did you like it? Did it work for you?
Yeah, it was pretty close to my favorite, I'd say.
Nice.
I really enjoyed it. There's so many powerful scenes, especially at the end when she gets her kind of revenge at the dinner table. Yeah, it was just so I never expect this from a comic book show. I know we've been saying that, but I feel like it keeps getting better and better.
I think it does too, because I don't know if it was my favorite episode. I think episode 3 might have been. Episode 3 was amazing, but I'm not comfortable enough saying it's not, kind of. They've all been so close within a hair of each other. And again, the fact that you still lived up to expectations with a flashback episode about your secondary character, it shows it's done pretty well. Let's get into that opening scene though. Before we go to the flashback, we pick up where episode 3 left off. Man, that was tense. So we get to see the conversation that happened before Vic pulls up, and Oz just instantly.
Oh my.
I mean, I guess you have to at that point. You can't rely on Maroney keeping the secret. Like at that point,
They know way too much.
Sophia's gonna know that you've been talking with him. You might as well try to salvage that part because there's no way you have Sophia's trust anymore after all the stuff that just happened. But he immediately goes, "No, I swear I wasn't gonna screw you over. I was screwing them over for you. We're working together here." And Sophia's eyes have just, because she just started to let him in again. She just started to like tell him, "I don't know how to trust you." And he goes, "Well, let me continue to show you how." Like that whole line, and then that. Less than 2 minutes later is what's happening in front of Sophia's eyes. Like, and when you see her flashback and all the time she's been betrayed, it makes it even harder to watch this. Like, she's like, okay, betrayed again, like yet again. And she hasn't really done anything to deserve that betrayal at that point. So pretty messed up. Because I was hoping to see that relationship grow with Oz and Sophia too. I was enjoying what we got out of it.
Yeah, that didn't last long.
But now it makes sense why he dipped off that quick. So what do you think of this opening scene?
I just thought, what a slime ball by Penguin. But I did say that he needs to become more hateable by the end of the season. And the last episode, it was like, okay, like, yeah, him and Sophia, he's trying to win her trust back. He's going to, build this empire with her and be together, but not together in a relationship, but, together in a business.
Right.
And then just immediately, like, it was a smart decision, though. He knows what to do in those crunch time situations. And to survive, basically. I mean, I feel like they weren't even buying it anyways. They're like, no, like, fuck you. Like, you lied to us multiple times. Why would I believe you now? And he does it again.
It's so funny how obvious it is that you can't trust him, but he keeps finding himself in situations where people are trusting him, like, and they're getting pissed when they realize they shouldn't have trusted him. Like, it's a pretty fun dynamic there, but yeah, just brutal for Sophia, man. So we get and again, obviously Vic just totally destroys that dude in the car, and they escape out of there. With Maroney following by. I don't know why Oz didn't kill Sal's wife at that point. He had the gun and she was left there unarmed. I guess maybe that would start way too much of a turf war, killing the wife of the Maroney family. But yeah, so they dipped out, and then we cut to this flashback with Sophia. We get to her younger, and again, just since we're already talking about it, I was saying how it was nice kind of seeing this relationship blossom between Oz and Sophia. It was bittersweet seeing these flashback scenes where Oz and Sophia are kind of talking to each other like they're friends, like they're buddies, like they care for each other, and we know exactly what's going to happen and how cold-hearted Oz is going forward. Even though we got that scene where she kind of belittles him and rips on him, she's obviously having a bad day. But for the most part, it seemed like they had a really good relationship. So it's tough seeing exactly what's rolling out now. And it's really going to make the rest of the season intense because there's a lot of emotion between the two, obviously.
Right, yeah, because even when her brother Aboto called him Penguin, she's like, hey, don't call him that.
Yeah.
She called him Oz. Like, she had some respect for him.
That was interesting. Yeah, your penguin up there is going to have to clean that up. And he was wearing a tuxedo during that. So then my brain was going, is it because he wears a tuxedo all the time and has the penguin color scheme and he's got the waddle? Kind of makes sense. And now he's working at the Iceberg Lounge and all that. So he ticks a lot of penguin boxes, I guess. The nickname makes sense. Dude, so we get something out of this flashback sequence, though, that we were talking about leading up to this show. We were talking about the penguin. We were looking through casting in one of our episodes. Maybe it was a Week in Geek. I can't exactly remember. But I brought up the fact that there were news leaks about Mark Strong playing Carmine Falcone. And we were talking about that, and I said, well, wait a second. We just got John Turturro playing Carmine Falcone, and he died. Like, what? And so we're like, but we found out Mark Strong was actually originally cast as Carmine Falcone, wasn't able to do it because of scheduling conflicts or something like that, I believe. They went with John. And then maybe that's why Mark is doing the series now. I can't imagine John Turturro had scheduling conflicts. No
Which is
offense.
weird.
He's not doing a lot of stuff right now. So I was kind of surprised they weren't able to get him for the series here. Like they got Colin
Severance.
Farrell. Oh, is he in that? Oh, all right. So maybe he does have a couple things going on, and there was a conflict.
But Mark Strong killed it. He was good.
Yeah.
Very tense.
Well, it made me feel like. So it did take me a second because it's not John Turturro, and we were kind of joking about that. We were like, well, they want to do a flashback of him as Mark Strong, right? Because
They're
age-wise,
different.
well, that too. Mark Strong's 61, John Turturro's 67. So it was supposed to be 10 years before, so 6 years. That's not bad. But yeah, John Turturro isn't he like Egyptian? No, Italian. He's Italian. Mark Strong is definitely not Italian. I can tell you right now, without even knowing for sure, that Mark Strong is pure British. He's full on Brit. He's a Brit. So, but yeah. So again, back to his portrayal as Carmine. He did good to the point where I wished he was him in the movie too, so we could have kept that continuity with Mark Strong, and obviously he was able to play the role well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the whole with the. I mean, you want to talk about the women getting hung when they're at the women's activist meeting, and the reporter walks up, who I guess is like a character in the Batman animated series, Summer. And Summer, I forgot her last name.
Oh, the reporter.
Yeah, she's a character in the animated series. She's in like 20 episodes.
I thought that was Summer Gleason. Okay, I thought the name sounded familiar, but I don't know.
But there's all these women who worked at the Iceberg Lounge or the Club 44. Is that what it's called? Or something 44.
Yeah.
They all hung
44 below.
44 below.
Sorry. Yeah.
They all hung themselves or were hung, but they all have these like scratch marks on them. And it's kind of crazy to see Sophia's point of view from this, because she's getting all these flashbacks of when her mom died. And it's like, oh my God, like, have I been living this lie the whole time? But when it comes down to when she's like, hey, I need you to wear a wire in your dad's club. She's like, no, well, okay, at least give me the employee file. She's like, well, this is all you got? Like, come on, you need more than this. And just like blows her off, because it's like, she can't like deal with that truth right now. And even when her dad confronts her about it, she still like lies about it.
Right. Well, and it's just again, it's tough to watch. Again, the actress Christine Milioti, she killed it. Man, it was so hard to watch, because we see Carmine telling her, Alberto ain't made for this. You're going to take over. You have what it takes to take over what I've created here. But at the same time, she's like asking Alberto, like, what does dad actually do? I feel like he's lying about what he does. Yeah. And Alberto's like, dad does his business and we got a good life. Don't worry about it. So it's like, oh, does she not know about the criminal underground family that she is a part of through this? Like, she has to know to an extent, but the way they made it out to seem, it sounded like she really didn't know how much of a gangster Carmine was.
Even Meadow Soprano knows.
Oh, I don't get that.
That's
reference.
his daughter. That's Tony's daughter.
Figured there was something with the Sopranos based on the name, but yeah, it's hard to believe that however old, 20-something she is in the flashback, she was unaware that Carmine Falcone was one of the biggest mob bosses in Gotham.
Yeah, like Gotham is big on its crime.
Yeah, but that's kind of what they made it out to be. But anyways, if that is the case, so she's not only a great daughter, she's smart, she can take over stuff, she can handle herself, but she's innocent too. And she so badly doesn't want to believe. So she sees her mom hanging. Brutal. She's a kid. She finds her mom hanging, swinging there. And her dad comes over and does not make it seem like that was a surprise to him. He just says, oh, no, you shouldn't be looking at that. Your wife's hanging there, buddy. So immediately I was like, he's obviously involved in Sophia's mom's death. Like, there's no way he's not. And then the more the episode goes, the more hangings. They didn't specifically say it, but obviously they made it seem like Carmine is the hangman that everybody's talking about. But brutal, just because she says, like, mom had defensive scratches on her too, but I know that was from something else. Like, I know that wasn't you. I can't help but think about it because I keep seeing things that point to that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. That was enough where he already like decided, "Okay, I'm putting my daughter in Arkham." Like,
And she was next in line. He said he was going to give it all to
yeah.
her.
And she just happened to mention that and is like, "Oh, okay, you're dangerous. You're done." Like, "Yep, I definitely had something to do with the death of your mom and you cannot start digging into that. You're going
Yeah.
to Arkham and being framed for 7 murders or whatever it was."
Jesus.
Like, bro, brutal. Absolutely brutal. It makes you root for Sophia so much more coming out of this episode. Like, I want her to get her revenge.
And well, her demeaning Oz is what made him snitch too. I feel like that, when she said, "No one cares what you think. You're my driver, and that's all." And
It
I
might be.
because he's a sensitive guy, and when people kind of turn their back on him, he has outbursts, or he gets his little revenge on him.
Or he shoots them multiple times and then puts their
Right.
body in the trunk of a car.
But I like how she said, "Oh, great! Now my dad has his eyes on you and everyone you love."
Yeah.
Yeah, good going. Now your whole family's in danger if you ever do anything wrong.
So she's got to know then, to an extent. With that line
That's
right
true.
there, she has to know there's something going on. So maybe it was a specific aspect of the business, Alberto. Maybe it was the drops game. I don't know. Maybe it was drugs that he was hiding or something.
the
Like she didn't
murdering
know her dad was doing
women.
drugs. Or the murdering. Yeah, maybe. But that doesn't seem like a business model. Just hanging people. So. And that was weird. So I don't even know that we know that was Carmine for sure. It seems like a weird aspect for him to be this specific female serial killer, but
Yeah, I feel like I've seen theories that there's more to that because it's the hangman. Like, who is the real hangman?
I was just thinking, so it could be a number of different iconic criminals from Gotham and the Batman stories. My first thought went to Victor Zsasz, although he is pretty brutal. I don't think hanging is necessarily his style, but he's savage. He's covered in scars. He's in a lot of different Batman mediums. He's in Birds of Prey, actually. There's a portrayal of him in that.
Okay.
He's he kills Alfred in one of the comic runs. Spoilers.
Jesus.
He's in a lot of stuff. He does a lot of stuff. So maybe he is the one behind the killings here, and Carmine just goes to this psychopath for the killings he needs done or something, and he needed him to kill his wife and get her out of the picture.
She definitely
But
found
yeah,
something out.
yeah, I kind of don't think it's Carmine who is the actual hangman. I think we're gonna find out a different criminal that's behind it.
Right. I agree.
Let's see what else happened. Yeah, she gets sentenced to 6 months in Arkham before a trial. Like no proof, no nothing. She
The
gets
family
pulled
wrote
over.
letters
Yeah, yeah. The
saying she
entire
was-
family wrote letters saying she needed to go to Arkham. Trials wiped out. Stays 6 months being abused and everything. Electroshock therapy, drugged. No, actually, they didn't start drugging her until afterwards. But we see other prisoners getting that bliss drug that we saw in the previous episodes. Magpie, her prison
That's what
neighbor.
that was, huh?
Yeah, she was chewing that red stuff, and she said, "You only get it if you're good." So that was the bliss stuff they're selling on the streets now.
Were they like testing it out in the hospital or what?
Had to be because remember she said, "Oh, your trial went bad. You're staying here. Oh well, at least you get the drugs now. Like,
Right.
hey, you get to have your candies now." So yeah, they're obviously testing it on people who are staying in the prison, but it was just tough, man. 6 months being sentenced to that with no trial, and then you finally make it, and it's just your brother saying, "Yeah, there's no trial. Like you're living here." In that scene, she thinks Magpie was ratting her out and stuff because of some phrase she says. I forgot. And did she kill her? I think she
Yeah.
killed her.
Yeah.
Just I don't even remember what she was hitting her with the tray, and then starts bouncing her head off the table. Just holy crap, it was gnarly. That whole sequence in Arkham. What'd you think of the whole Arkham stuff in our first look into Arkham fully?
It was awful. Like, I felt really bad for her being in there, especially knowing she was innocent at the same time. And that tall, skinny lady was terrifying. It was almost like a horror movie, the way she walked around and was like schizophrenic.
Yeah, she looked like she was very high on meth.
And you could tell it was all a setup from the beginning to make her look crazy. Like, you could tell the doctor was in it. I thought, I
Right.
forgot that, was it Julius? Is that his name? What's his
Julian
name?
Rush.
Julian.
Hmm.
I forgot about him from the first episode. That was the first episode, correct? Or the second? First or second? Premiere.
Julian?
Yeah.
No, it was the second or third. It wasn't in the premiere because me
Okay.
and JD were theorizing after episode 1 about who's Julian Rush. I see his name in the casting, but
Oh,
yeah, I
got
think
it.
episode 2 he popped up.
Because when his face popped up in this episode, I was like, he looks familiar, but I forgot about that scene in the prior episode.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I thought he was in on it first too, but no, he was the one that was. I mean, we find out later he was kind of being weird, or she thinks he was being weird. But I like how she said, "I don't know how to convince you I'm sane when you've already made up your mind." That is
Yeah,
kind of how it goes with a lot of criminals, like they already think you're guilty, they already think you're crazy. And the
absolutely.
electroshock therapy was just nuts. Like, oh, it
You
was
go
rough.
straight to that, bro. That's why even Julian Rush, I know eventually he helped her get out, but like it's hard for me to buy that you're a decent person when you're fine with just frying people who show no signs of insanity, have no proof against them, and you're just like, I'm helping you by shocking you into insanity. Like, I don't know. I guess he's just following orders or whatever tag you want to put on it. But to me, it's hard to look at you as a decent human being if that's something you can be a part of and not. Like, I don't know. He's obviously been doing it for a while before Sophia. It just, man, brutal.
And what about her brother? Her brother was like that. You talked about it in the summary. This really shows why she was so upset he died. He was the one. Like he's only been portrayed
Only
as
one.
this dumbass guy the whole show, but when it came to his sister, he really was fighting for her, trying to keep her spirits up, doing whatever he could to get her out of there or help her.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, he is a dumbass guy still, but yeah, you're right. Exactly. He cared for Sophia, and they had a good brother sister relationship. They had to deal with Carmine growing up together. Yeah, tough. It really drives the point home about why Sophia was furious and heartbroken and almost losing her mind because her brother was dead, and she had to see that way.
And
Rough.
I'm definitely Team Sophia over Team Oz right now. Because now seeing that
Isn't
Oz,
that
Oz
wild?
also killed her brother, and that was like her
Yeah.
one person she had. So it's like, dude,
Yeah.
fuck him, you know?
Just for talking trash while being drunk. Like he just laughed at him while drunk. Like he didn't. That was the only reason he killed him. And I guess he's probably been talking down to him for years. He was calling him the Penguin 10 years ago. But isn't that wild though? How we came out last episode talking about, like you said earlier in this episode, something's got to happen for us to root against Oz. Like right now, I really like the guy, and it happened.
Fast.
I think we're all already on Team Sophia. Like it's just all it took was one flashback episode. So it's interesting how that worked. Good episode though. Good writing. If you can convince an audience that quick to flip just like
Right.
that from one character to another, that's a solid episode.
Can we talk about
Um,
Oh,
Nope.
go ahead.
Can you hear me? Did any sound changes happen?
No.
All right, we're good. Did you have anything else before we get to present time?
Oh, no.
So anything? Oh, all right. So yeah, let's get to. Interesting episode. I thought the whole thing would be a flashback once they started the flashback, but we got one scene in present time, and then we went to a flashback for like 40 minutes, and then
Yeah.
15 minutes at the end of the episode was back to present day. It was interesting. All with Sophia. That was wild. So she crashes the party. Her family is having the dinner, after the service of Alberto. She shows up, obviously not wanted. Luca has 24 hours left on his time for her to get the hell out of the country or she's dead.
Is this post what just happened with Oz too? Right?
Yes, I believe so.
Right. It's because she called
Because
Julian.
she's done.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, because she woke up at Julian's with her head hurting because
Right,
of
right,
what
right.
happened during that scene.
Because that was slightly confusing at first. I was like, is this before or after? Yeah, and then at the end figured it out. But
Yeah, no, it took me a second to realize we were done with the flashback. It's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we're back to. But that was wild. Yeah, she walks up to the table. She's starting to tell the family off. What was Carmine? Maybe no, Carmine's her dad's name.
Luca?
No, the female who she used to be friends with,
Carla?
and she tried to. Carla, there you go. I knew it started with a car. She tries to get out of there and leave the table with her daughter, and she goes, "Carla, sit." And so Carla just sends her daughter off to bed, and she gives a whole lecture to them about how she didn't do anything. Her life was ruined because of everybody at this. And it was all valid. Everything she said was a valid reason to be frustrated and going off. And she's like, and I'm leaving. You know what? Fine, I will. I'll start a new life tomorrow. I'm doing it just like you asked. And obviously, you're sitting there going, there's no way she's actually going to leave the show tomorrow. So something's about to happen. But I did not expect what happened. So what did you think of this climax of this episode? Did you see that coming? Like, what were you thinking?
No, I didn't even believe they were all dead at first. I was like, oh, are they just like passed out? But oh no. And she left the one guy alive who obviously could help her run.
Her cousin,
Johnny Vitti.
which we found out. Johnny Vitti, her cousin. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But to take it back a little bit, I thought it was super funny at the dinner table when she has the meatball in her mouth. And she like makes that funny face at the girl and makes her laugh. She saved the girl too, which was nice.
That was funny. She did. That was a super creepy scene when she took her to the greenhouse. I gotta say, she kind of like forced her to go there and was like, "My mom, I need to go to bed." No, you're fine. Yeah, my brother used to do like. It was a little creepy until you realize why she was doing it. But
oh right. And I guess it was foreshadowing when she said, "I trusted you, I loved you." Like past tense, you know, like not anymore. You guys have to get out of here.
Who did she say that to?
At the dinner table, to everybody.
Oh, to everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was like such a powerful scene. I feel like it would feel so good to get that off your chest after everything. When she like, Luca's making this like BS toast when he's just like saying all these like gratitudes and really saying nothing, and she's like, all right, like let me step in here, and then just like lets it all go and just tells them all like, you wrote the letters. No one tried to help me besides my brother, who's now dead. And you don't even like think of me the same anymore. Like even though I didn't actually do anything, I would have done the same thing if I was her. Just take them all out.
Well, and I hope some of them felt some guilt before they got murdered too, because of what they did. Because they just straight up ruined this seemingly innocent, good person's life, all because she started to realize who murdered her mom. Like, yeah.
And the women were looking at each other, so I wonder how much they actually knew, because they kept showing the other wives' reactions, like, "Oh, like my husband's been telling me something different for the past 10 years."
Yeah, I think there might have been some of that. I think Carla is guilty just because the last episode where she runs into her, she did seem like she was very fake. She's like, "Oh yeah, we should get drink sometimes," but like protected her daughter from her. So. Maybe it's just because she thinks she was insane, actually, now I'm thinking about it. So, yeah, maybe they just believed that what everybody said about her being insane and needing to go to Arkham was true, and she believed that Sophia actually hung all those women, and that's why they were acting so standoffish. Which, if so, that is kind of sad that that little girl just lost her mom. If she actually didn't know what happened there and she thought Sophia was crazy and now she's dead, that's a tough look. But... that was wild, though. I did not see that coming. It was creepy with the kid in the greenhouse. And then all of a sudden, she puts on a gas mask and walks through the entire house to all these dead bodies, only to find Johnny Vitti. And God, if you're Johnny Vitti after that whole dinner thing, and you wake up and Sophia's staring at you with a gas mask, like,
and a gun.
That's a terrifying, and a gun. That's right. Yeah, I don't even actually know if she had the gas mask on still, but Sophia with the gun right after that speech. Hell of a way to wake up.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, "Oh my God, what did you do?"
Hey, Sophia, you know we were always chill, right? I never meant any of the whole Arkham stuff.
And this has big implications on the Batman too.
That's funny. I swear to God, I was just about to talk about that though. So this kind of feeds into a theory online. What were you gonna say regarding it?
I didn't have any really theories. I was just thinking that like a lot of the storyline from the first movie has been completely wiped out by Sophia, you know?
Right.
It's just her and Oz.
Right.
And the Maronis. But I forgot his name. He's in prison.
Sal Maroni, he's in prison still. I mean, there's the triads and all that, but they're not like at the top of the storytelling at least. But no, so yeah, this feeds into a theory that's kind of been going around online. People have been saying that they think this series is going to eliminate the last remnants of the underground crime family power reign in Gotham, and is going to lead into a more supervillain controlled city instead of crime family controlled, leading into the Batman 2. So we're going to start seeing more people like the Penguin kind of stepping in, but then, whether the Scarecrow, we're going to start seeing these different variations popping up trying to grab power in Gotham instead of the typical just mob boss families.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah, right? So Batman 2 comes along. There's not much left of the underground crime family. There's a power vacuum going on with just the Penguin and maybe Sophia, but I have a feeling she might die this season. Just saying.
Vic. I feel like Vic's dead for sure.
People are theorizing Vic might end up being one of these rogue gallery villains of Batman coming up, which is hard for me to see right now.
Who's
I think it
Cyborg?
would have to be something specific. Ooh, his name is Victor.
Right?
Yeah. Well, all that means though is we got to watch Vic die in a horrible way, and then his dad's got to. He doesn't have a dad.
He doesn't have a
Whole
dad
family's dead.
anymore.
Whole family's dead. Actually, sorry, Vic. I don't think you have the means to become cyborg. Your dad, he's dead, and he was not a crazy smart scientist when he was alive. He
Maybe like Lex Luthor does it instead.
It could be. There's plenty of variations. You could make it happen, but he he somewhat dies in some brutal thing with Oz, and then he gets revived into this crazy being by Lex. I don't think that's too. It's Elseworlds. We probably won't see Lex in this, but
That's true. And it wouldn't happen in the Penguin series, obviously.
yeah, no. Yeah, we'd probably see his demise in the Penguin series, and then maybe hear a storyline in Batman 2. But that's probably a long shot. But yeah, no, it really makes you think what's going to happen by the end of the season and what is Gotham going to look like by the time we get to the Batman 2. So, the Freeze, Mark Strong was there. He was already in the episode. Now we just need him to be revived and then have his wife get a crazy illness that he has to become a mad scientist and try to find the cure of. And then we got Mark Strong as Mr. Freeze. Simple as that.
There you go.
There you go. Write it down. Do you have any other thoughts on the episode, though, as a whole?
No, just besides I love it.
Straight up. Can't believe it.
This last episode was like a 9.5 on IMDb. It's up there with some of the highest rated episodes.
I was just going to check that. Have all of their episodes been... Wait, did you say IGN?
No, IMDb.
Oh, whew, okay. I was going to say, we're going to talk about IGN here.
Yeah,
but-
no, they do some crazy shit over there. They're great at dropping trailers, though.
IGN, yeah.
Video game trailers.
So, let's see. It got 5.3 million viewers opening night. The Penguin did. It grew to 13 million after 11 days. So I'm kind of trying to check how it's actually doing right now. It's got more than 13 million viewers. I guess that's the first episode, so that's all they really have posted right now. Oh, series high audience with episode 4. There you go. As it says, 1.7 million viewers. I don't get how that's a season high. Oh, just when it opened. All right, so it's growing. 17% increase over the series premiere. So the show is growing steadily. It's doing very well, obviously. Love just said IMDb is giving it plus 90 ratings. So
Yeah, episode 3 was a 9.1. 2, 8.5. Number 1, 8.8.
okay. All right. So that's pretty damn good for a show just dropping like this. A spin-off show.
Mm-hmm.
Not involving Batman at all. Rotten Tomatoes critics have it at 94%, audience 91%.
It's good. There should be some Emmy nominees. I feel like Christina should get an Emmy nomination.
Christina should get some. Colin Farrell definitely should get some. Like, that fool absolutely deserves the Best Actor nomination in a drama for an Emmy. Yeah, man, I think there's nothing but hope with this show right now. It's very promising. I can't wait to watch episode 5. We have 8 episodes total, so we're at the halfway mark right now. And a lot of stuff has already happened. Every episode has had major events going down. Yeah. A lot of things have changed since episode 1. So, man, I'm excited to keep. Yeah.
I like a limited series instead of like a 5 seasons. Just pack it all into one and give us some action.
Yeah, there's no pressure on building a larger story. You can just tell this story in this thing, and you have the tiny option of it spilling over into a movie, which is a pretty cool little aspect to have, especially when you're the one doing the movie too.
Right.
It's just a perfect mid-series, in between the movies kind of deal. It's just great, and they're doing a great job at it.
I wish Batman was coming out. Well, it was supposed to be this year or next year? Yeah, next year, but now it's 2026.
Yeah.
Just wild.
That's rough, man. It's almost 2 years away.
And 6 years from the first one. What was it? 2019?
I think the Batman was 2021.
2021.
Yeah, it was after COVID when it dropped. 2022.
2022.
Yeah. So we'll see. It sucks we got to wait a long time, but I am very grateful for this show we've got right here. So shout out to Matt Reeves. Max is doing a good job. Thank you, James Gunn, for letting him continue this in Elseworlds. Hey, maybe we get some crazy interdimensional thing where we get this brought over into the main DCU world. Probably not, but do it for the fans. Anyways, that's going to wrap it up here for us on our coverage of episode 4 of The Penguin, the spinoff series of The Batman. Keep on joining us here. We're going to continue to cover it weekly until the end, especially Rings of Power is done. So we're going to be doing this and then hopefully getting some creative episodes out there. We've been talking about doing some shorter episodes, maybe, some obscure ones, top 5 comedies, top 5 action movies, do a bunch of top 5 stuff in the meantime, and just kind of get a little bit more creative while we have a lull in content coming out. So thank you for joining us. Thank you to my co-host Caleb here for hopping on tonight, and we will see you next time on Why So Sidious. You guessed it, a nerd podcast.
Say it with me.
All right. I am leaving this thing open, not taking any chances. How are you only at 7%? I don't think I did end up pausing it. That's right. There was a little delay going for a sec, I thought, so I paused it just to be safe. And I'm at 28%, and you're at 9%.
I'll surpass you.
Yeah, I would imagine. Maybe I just never paused mine. I just paused yours. I don't know. Oh, 67. Oh, down to 28. All right, that's messed up. Anyway, all right. Yeah, I'm going to try to do that Lord of the Rings deal tomorrow. And then I'll try to get this stuff too. Honestly, the only way is going to be to do the cloud coverage because it just did not pick up any of my stuff after 10 seconds.
It's wild.
Bro, just in the middle of saying the best of the Lord of the Rings trip, and then I just cut out mid-sentence. Okay.
Dude, I was way too high, right after Nerd Therapy. And we got into, our
Really?
top 5 characters, and, the part after that, I was just, I couldn't read and, talk at the same time. It was, But if I was just talking, doing like that, I was totally fine. But if I looked over at my phone and tried to, comprehend, it was, it didn't work.